I'm John Adirola. Welcome to American Politics. You came back. I didn't know if you would, for sure, because it sucks, but we've got some good stuff coming for you. I mean, the biggest thing, of course, is what you'd expect. Probably the main reason you're here is that Francesca Fiorentini is going to be joining us in a little bit on the Full Damage Report show. Fantastic Mondays, as always. And in addition, on Mondays, as you know, we do our weekly top 10 list for our Tier 2 and Tier 3 YouTube members. And we had a request in one of the past ones to do another food-related top 10 list because I had done the top 10 Pop-Tart flavors a few weeks back. So I decided I would do the request, but I would flavor it around something I've been thinking about a lot, which is, I think, something a lot of people have been dealing with over the past year, which is pandemic-related weight gain. So this is going to be the top 10 foods that most contributed to added weight gain over the past year. So that should be fun. They're good foods. Clearly, that's most of the problem, honestly. And so we're going to be putting together that. We'll have to see what Francesca does because honestly, I don't think that she gained any weight, but I'm sure she's been enjoying some food, so maybe she can throw that out there. Anyway, thank you everybody for being here. Lots of stories to get to. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. It looks like about half of you have, actually, which is really nice of you. But, okay, so I just want to throw this out here just because we're going to be talking about the response to the Georgia voting bill. So the Republicans passed this bill to make it as difficult as possible to vote. Some corporations, including the MLB, have spoken out against that. So now the Republicans have pounced on that. Because you need to understand, those corporations are saying something political that the Republicans think is incorrect. And so they want you to destroy those companies for saying things incorrectly political. No, wait, that's not smooth enough. There's got to be a better way to say that. Incorrect politics? I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure out something. But Laura Ingraham on Friday of her show said, it's time to teach corporate America that if they attack Georgia or any state like it for doing what they did to secure their right to vote, these corporations are going to face the wrath of GOP officials, as well as the tens of millions of American consumers who support them. That means lobbyists and CEOs, they need to be told in no uncertain terms, if you try to help the left rig elections, we're going to punish you. Okay, so that's an amazing spin. It's a necessary spin, but it's an amazing spin because the Democrats didn't pass any bill, of course. They just won an election under the laws the Republicans had set up. So the Republicans decided, well, clearly the laws aren't good enough. So we're going to change it. So the CEOs have spoken out against that. So that's them trying to help rig the election. I don't know, but that's what she's saying. The end result, of course, is that she has given you something to do. And that something to do is to boycott those companies. Cancel Coke, cancel baseball, because they did something we don't like, something politically incorrect. So we're going to have a lot more on that, but just bear in mind, like I've been saying, do not play into the narrative they want to exist about cancel culture. I understand, for everybody, there's things that happen that bother you, and you worry about a slippery slope and all of that, but you need to understand that while there might be a phenomenon, cancel culture, as it's being used, has nothing to do with that. It is purely a political mirage for the Republicans that allow them to criticize whoever they want while inoculating themselves, not against COVID, they're against that, inoculating themselves against criticism. That's what it is. And this is a demonstration of it. How quickly they pivot, a 180, to turning and attacking these corporations for saying something they don't like. Because corporations, of course, should not be involved in politics, except if it's giving huge amounts of money to politicians. If it's corporations saying they're not going to give money, then suddenly that's unacceptable. But flooding politics with money is perfectly fine. Why don't we block them from doing any of this? Anyway, so that's out there. Have fun with that. Hannah McLean, welcome to Tier 2 YouTube membership. Glad to have you aboard. Hope you enjoy the top 10 lists. I'm going to be revealing quite a bit about my life over the past year. Adrian lost 50 pounds over quarantine. Good Lord. Kenneth Wolf lost weight as well. Okay, well, now I feel even worse. Thank you, all of you. Chocolate cookies, that's definitely a part of it for me. Brett Johnson says, Pastor Dragon hoping for an anniversary shout-out. Thank you, Pastor Dragon, for being here. Satan says, morning, Johnny Pie. Hope you had an awesome Easter. Bring on the top 10 list in front of Fio for Fantastic Mondays. Bring on the news. We are. Hey, Jess, how's it going? Okay, so Tarek says, hello, I've seen every episode since the beginning of lockdown. Thanks for keeping me TX strong, claiming Dragon every episode. I don't think I've seen every episode. Almost. But anyway, okay, so let's jump into other news. A few little interesting little tidbits. You know what? We've been talking about the pandemic. Let's talk about a little bit of good news. And this is good news that I got from Nate Silver, interestingly enough. So he tweeted out, I hadn't seen the COVID death count, the last reported COVID death count. And I have given you many COVID death count updates over the past year, probably 200 or so. And generally they've been bad. But this one, 222 COVID deaths reported yesterday, which is obviously, that's 222 tragedies. But it is the fewest since March 23rd, 2020. More than a year ago. I mean, we've gotten near there a few times before the huge explosion of the fall and winter, but back down to much lower numbers. It does give me hope. Now, the fear, and I hope that this is the last period of fear, you know, barring some insane mutation that busts through the vaccine. I'm hoping that the next couple of weeks we don't see a rise, because we have been seeing a rise in cases, and we know that there's a lag. It is possible that we could be on the upswing again in deaths within 1 to 2 weeks. Now, I am hoping that that is not the case, and that is not, I think, evidence-free hope. The idea is that we have vaccinated, at least with one shot, a quarter of the population so far. And that is, of course, not evenly distributed across the entire population. It would be helpful if it was. But generally, that should be people who are most at risk of getting COVID and having severe cases, being hospitalized, and dying from COVID. So the idea is that even if the cases go up, that's still terrible. You know, it's still a horrible experience. You can get quite sick. It can have incredibly long-term consequences, but it shouldn't result in as much death as it would have a year ago, because now a lot of the especially older people, people who are immunocompromised and all of that, are now better protected against. So good news there. We are going to be watching over the course of the next week. We will see. Ryan Zephyr says, these pre-shows literally never pop up in my subscriptions. WTF. Yes, so there's probably a lot of reasons for that. There's one thing that I am looking into as a potential solution that I'm having some discussions with TYT about. We will see what we can do. Esther lost 50 pounds over lockdown too. Jesus. I wish, God, I should have taken inspiration from you. I should have been working on this for a long time. The stress, it really gets to you. Jess says she's dropped weight from stress as well. That is not how it works for me. I started making Beyond sausage and gravy, gained 10 to 20 pounds. That does sound good though. I could go for some of that. Zane says, but John, who will donate without return on investment? That's funny. Dragon Princess Jen says, I went to pick up RX Sunday and Tech asked if I wanted vaccine and if I knew anyone else, as they had 2 left over, so me and Hub got first shot, so happy. Wow, that is a lucky little coincidence there. Good timing. Grandma Sunshine Dragon, welcome to Tier 2 YouTube membership. Glad to have more of you watching the top 10 lists. We very much enjoyed doing those each week. Gina Jones says, my first Moderna vaccine last Friday went well. I had no bad side effects, just a sore arm and some tiredness. My second shot is on April 30th. Getting closer. Getting closer. Okay. Yeah, Jess, I saw that they had posted that, by the way. That's awesome. Okay, so here's something awful for you. Hot mic moment. And hot mic moments are always fun because hot mic is obviously, it's a mistake. It's a low likelihood of happening. So for every hot mic moment, I wonder how many of these situations happen that we have a cold mic, so we don't actually learn about it. This one involves girls' high school basketball. Conservatives are, of course, going to be very fed up about this because if there's anything they care about, it's women's sports all of a sudden. But anyway, here's what happened. It involved the Norman High School girls' basketball team. Now, during the Star-Spangled Banner, they kneeled, as, you know, athletes do in this time. And since kneeling was done to draw attention to certain situations, and nothing has been done to fix those situations, I don't think we can be all that surprised that people are still kneeling. But anyway, someone was. And that was the announcer for this, again, high school girls basketball team. He started going off, saying they're kneeling, fucking N-words. I hope Norman gets their ass kicked. Fuck them. I hope they lose. They're gonna kneel like that. He then waited about 30 seconds and dropped another N-bomb about these high school girls who are kneeling. And if there's anything I love, it's sugar. But the second thing I love is irony. They're kneeling to draw attention to our inherently racist system. That frustrates this racist so much that he starts calling them the N-word, seemingly without realizing that he's demonstrating part of the problem. Now, in this case, the mic was hot, so everyone was hearing it. So at least we've got that. But how could you think, again, I tweeted at Tommy Lauren, because she was tweeting some theory about undocumented kids getting vaccinated. And I said, have you ever considered that you might not be one of the good ones, one of the good people, one of the good guys? Like for this guy, this basketball announcer, do you think that you're the hero of this story? Do you think that you're the one we're supposed to look up to, that we're supposed to root for? That you're dropping racial slurs about kids? And think too, like he's the bad guy because he said it, but he felt safe saying it. Was he alone? Was there? No, there was at least one other person broadcasting there. Like, he felt safe doing that about kids protesting structural racism. We all disagree, obviously. Like, so when I posted, have you ever considered that you're not one of the good guys? There were like a billion, mouth-breathing conservatives who said, well, have you? And I thought, I mean, I'm not perfect, but I think so. I think that I'm trying to be. I mean, we can debate whether my tactics or how I word things are particularly effective, but I'm doing this to try to make people's lives better. Are they? Sure, maybe a few people. A few wealthy, well-off, privileged people. They believe that their lives, which are good, need to be better. Maybe it's just perspective. But I'm not dropping N-words about kids, I've got that going for me, which is nice. I'm not spreading conspiracy theories about how horrendous it would be if undocumented kids received medical care. We can disagree on some things, but I don't know. There's some things that I think are fairly fundamental. And assuming, by the way, that your political activity, whether you are a regular person engaging in political debate in your life, maybe you're doing some activism, maybe you're voting, or let's say you have a show like this, assuming that what you're doing is actually based on your values, which is not something we should necessarily assume, because there's way too much money out there that's obviously influencing a lot of people. But let's say that it was, what are your values? Like, for me, I don't like to see people suffering. Honestly, even people I hate sometimes, like, with Trump and his thing about Fauci's baseball arm, I can't take it. It's too much. I don't like it. I don't like seeing people debasing themselves or being debased. Maybe it's just perspective, though. Maybe. Maybe it's just honest disagreements. Let's see. Ray Turner says, oh, I was fat before the pandemic lockdown. Hey, I didn't say anything about whether I wasn't fat or not. I'm just saying I gained weight. You fill in based on your knowledge of me with what the starting situation was. Andrea says, excited my husband and I are getting vaccinated tomorrow. I'm in my late 30s. He's in his early 40s. I was super happy when my state opened up vaccines to all. That's awesome. Late bloomer got their second Moderna shot. That's great, late bloomer. Glad to see that. I had a friend who got, I don't know if it was Pfizer or Moderna, and the second shot was tough, apparently. Camara says, hi, John, on the bus now, on my way to get second shot. Hope everyone is being safe. Is everybody getting the shot literally now while watching the show? Navadoop says, start OnlyFans for pre-show. JL Snyder cut equals epic. I said that I might watch that, but I have not yet. I can't. I've been watching Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's enough superhero stuff for me. Elizabeth says, good morning, Satan Daddy. My brother, 42-year-old brother, died Friday due to relapse. Oh, my God. Oh, no. That message started off so upbeat. I wasn't prepared for this. My entire family is flying from Ohio, Florida, California, Minnesota, isolating myself and kids because they won't follow protocol. Get to do this dead brother thing alone. Elizabeth, I am so sorry to hear about that. Both, the obvious loss of your brother, that's terrible, and then not being able to count on the rest of your family. I can't imagine. Philip, welcome to Tier 1 YouTube membership. Enjoy that new Viviana emote. We got more coming. Rob Dom says, he wants it to be Gatesgate, but I say Mattsgate because it sounds both stupid and like the reporter is effing up his name. It'll piss him off. Hey, whatever we can do. Rhino Wiki says, try this. Put fruit spread on croissant dough. Fold this to put spread on the inside and put in a Belgian waffle maker. It's good and quick to make clean. I'm talking about gaining weight. That's not what I need, Ryan. How is that good for me? Anna says, diagnosed with prediabetes near the start of the pandemic, so I've had no choice but to lose 30 pounds and counting and take my health more seriously. Congratulations to everyone. If that's a goal that you have and you're doing it, congratulations. Zane has full access, 16 and up in that county. That's good to hear. Okay, so let's jump into a little 1-2 punch of religion in politics and religion in America. So I had sort of forgotten about Jenna Ellis. Did you forget about Jenna Ellis? Do you know Jenna Ellis? Jenna Ellis is that woman who decided to be one of Trump's lawyers as he tried to take out American democracy and has seemingly paid no price for that. I mean, she's being sued. Maybe she'll pay a price. Oh, remember when Rudy Giuliani farted on her and she got COVID from it? We don't know if that's actually what she got it from, but I like to imagine that that's what it was. Anyway, she was tweeting on Easter about Christianity because she's totally a Christian. They love these holidays to pop up and remind them that they're supposed to have some religious values or whatever that mostly manifest in attacking people who don't agree with them, even if they don't live, based on the things they say they believe. Anyway, so she had been tweeting attacking Raphael Warnock, saying that he was a heretic or something. Anyway, she, in response, was tweeted out by Joy Reid, who said, if you're an idolatrous worshiper of Donald Trump, your thoughts on biblical Christianity will be taken with a huge pound of salt by people who are reasonably familiar with the gospel, just so you know. She responded saying, literally no one worships Trump. Maybe you need to be more than reasonably familiar with the gospel, and then invited her to get to know the real Jesus. Think about that. I'm an atheist, obviously, so I don't speak for Christians or whatever. But I don't think she does either. I imagine, isn't humility supposed to be one of the big ones for Christians? For most religions, really. Imagine how far from humility you need to be to say, hey, I'll show you the real Jesus. Fuck you. And that's not me saying that. If Jesus existed, which he doesn't, he'd probably be saying that too. You think you can say who the real Jesus is? No. The whole thing is supposed to be you trying to be a better person. Trying to read the examples of all those people from thousands of years ago that didn't know what they were talking about, but now we pretend they did. You're supposed to be doing that to learn and better yourself, not to lord it over other people. Now, granted, I haven't read the Bible, which puts me in good company with basically every Christian who also hasn't read it, but I'm pretty sure that's the lesson. And also, I'm pretty sure you're missing something about the Trump thing, because the idea that literally no one worships Trump, I mean, how are you defining worship to mean that nobody does? Let's take a look. First of all, they had a golden statue of him. Sort of one of the no-nos, so let's just point that out. Let's see. He is literally infallible. Do they even believe that the Pope is that anymore? But they believe that he is. They believe that he can do no wrong. Reality orients itself around him. So if he comes up short, for instance, in a vote count, it cannot be that he did anything wrong, that the people rejected him. Everything becomes some sort of cosmic conspiracy against him. Okay? Lucifer's forces have oriented themselves against it. And by the way, I'm not just myself jumping to make it about Satan and all of that. What is the whole QAnon thing? It is the satanic panic with a little bit of the digital age. That's all it is. It is that Satan himself is fighting against Trump. They have pitched him as Jesus come again. Honestly, it's worse than just we're worshiping him. They seem to have forgotten that Jesus is supposed to return in their fervor for Trump, who's here now. He is the one who's fighting the satanic cabal. He is the one that is supposed to protect all of the kids. And she doesn't need to be reminded of this. She fought with him to end democracy, so sure was she that he could not possibly lose a fair election. They don't worship him. No, they 100% worship him. Now, worship isn't 100% concrete. They can disagree with him on something occasionally, though few do, not of anything of substance. But they 100% believe that what he says goes, what he thinks matters. The people he supports are good. Those who turn against or even lightly criticize him are evil. They do actually believe that. And for her to come off of months of completely uncritical work on his behalf, to then pretend that, no, all of us, we're constantly evaluating him and deciding if we want to keep serving. No. Look, there's way too much worship overall in politics. We can see that for a lot of different politicians. But I don't think there's been one in our lifetime that's been as strong as for Donald Trump. I hope we never see anything surpass it. Get the fuck out of here with your bullshit made-up Christianity, your performative social media BS for Easter. Which actually reminds me of something. No, actually, we're gonna play that on the full show. I got a bit more Easter for you coming up, really fast, because we only have a couple more minutes. I did want to say though that while hey, maybe this is in line with it, the switching worship from God to politicians, but just 47% of the U.S. population are members of a church, mosque, or synagogue, according to a survey by Gallup that's been running for the better part of getting on towards a century. It's down from 70% 2 decades ago. So it hasn't quite fallen by half, but it's getting towards there, less than a half. About 66% of people born before 1946 are still members of a church, compared to just 1 in 3 millennials. So huge demographic difference here. The number of Democratic church members dropped by a quarter over 20 years. Independents dropped by 18%, Republicans just by 12%. There's obviously a lot of lying in this too. It's likely that the numbers are lower, especially for Republicans. They don't want to admit that they don't go to church, even if they go extremely rarely or once did. So understand that. But the numbers are dropping. And why not? I mean, all of the scandals, the huge influx of reflux, I guess, of religion into politics probably soured some people on it. I think people are looking for answers elsewhere. And not always in better places, by the way. There is as we were just talking about, a huge amount of religious sentiment and faith in things like QAnon. So sometimes it's religion, just not of the churchy variety. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. Stay tuned to future seasons of American politics, and we'll find out together. Nicole says, got my first Pfizer shot yesterday. Congratulations. It's awesome. Aline says, got my Janssen shot 2 Fridays ago. Sore arm and tiredness for 2 days and feeling constantly sweaty hot for a bit over a week. Wow, it lasted a week. Okay, well, I'm glad it's done, though. 88i guy says, Texas Senate passed a bill to force electricity generators to sell energy at cost during emergencies instead of at market prices like in February. Step in the right direction if the House passes it. Okay, I had not actually seen that, 88i guy. That is actually good news. I'm going to have to look into that. Thank you. Sea salt chips. Remember that guy who literally said that even if Jesus told him not to, he'd still vote for Trump? There are definitely people who worship him. 100%. Yeah. We've seen countless examples of that. There are people who will give their life to demonstrate their faith for Donald Trump. Those people who went to his rallies and just soaked up the COVID. It was a demonstration of faith. They would kill themselves and their families if he said so. Late Bloomer says, even though the side effects from the second Moderna shot were rough, it was way better than having an actual virus. Yeah, I'll say so. I will say so. Daniel Johnson says, I love you so much, Don, that I logged into both of my accounts and liked this twice to offset the 2 down votes. Keep speaking the good word. Thank you. I will try. I will try. Again, not perfect, but I'm trying to do the right thing. Very confused about politics recently. Not going to go in length, especially because there's no time, but it's a weird period. It's a difficult period. Anyway, Gabby said, hey, Gabby, how's it going? Good news, John. It's first contact day. Thank you. I got your message. Happy first contact day. We only need to wait another 42 years for the Vulcans to rescue us all. I'm not going to last that long, not with my diet the way it is right now. Anyway, we're past time. Francesca's coming up. You got less than 18 minutes until it actually happens, so don't go anywhere. If you do go somewhere, go to twitch.tv/TYT. We'll be broadcasting to both. Can't wait to see you then. We're going to be going through, let's see. We've got an uprising at a prison, potentially for very good reason. What's going on with Matt Gaetz? Who's defending him? But also, who's not defending him? And we got more on a lot more besides. So definitely, you're not going to want to miss that. I'll see you in just a few.